Hello, good morning students. So, in previous chapter, what I told you, we have completed the first chapter, that is the reproduction in organisms. We have completed the first chapter, where we are discussing regarding the reproduction in organisms, and now in today's class, or from this class, we are going to start the second chapter, that is the sexual reproduction in flowering plant. So now you have to remember, in the previous classes or in first chapter, we are discussing regarding the reproduction. There are the two kinds of reproduction we are discussed in detail. One is sexual reproduction, another one is sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, we are discussed regarding the involvement of two parents, and formation of gametes, and after that the fusion of male and female gamete to form a zygote. And sometimes there is no fusion of the gametes. The female gamete is directly developed into the new organism. That I told you, kind of sexual reproduction. We are going to call that as a parthenogenesis, right? So these are the things we are studying, and the main important thing what we are studying in the sense, there are the different events in a sexual reproduction. What are those different events of sexual reproduction in the sense? Pre-fertilization event, fertilization, and post-fertilization. Understood? In pre-fertilization events, we are studying the gametogenesis and gamete transfer. Fertilization, union of male and female gamete to form a diploid zygote. Then afterwards, we are studying regarding the post-fertilization event. In a post-fertilization event, we are studying the kinds of zygotes and then embryogenesis, in the sense formation of embryo, from the zygote. And in embryogenesis, again we are studying the two main important events. Those two main important events are nothing but one is cell division and another one is cell differentiation. And I told you regarding the cell division, the importance of cell division, it has to increase the number of cells, or we are going to call it as a mass of cell in the form of numbers, and after that those cells are going to differentiate. In a sense, the cells are going to differentiate in the sense they are going to form a particular tissue, then a particular organ system, then it is going to form a new organism. These are the things we are discussed in a previous class in an events of sexual reproduction. Now, and there we are studying the different kinds of examples like animals as well as in plants, right? So today's class we are going to start discussing the chapter 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, in the sense. In this particular chapter, we are going to focus mainly on flowering plant, the sexual reproduction of a flowering plant, in the sense the flowering plants are come under angiosperms. Flowering plants are come under the angiosperms. So in first year, again you are studying regarding the bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm, angiosperm, like this. These flowering plants are the higher plants in a plant. Understood? So now here again in this particular chapter, the sexual reproduction in flowering plant, we are going to study the pre-fertilization events in flowering plants, fertilization events in flowering plant, post-fertilization events in flowering plants. These are the main important points we are going to discuss under the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Apart from this, what else we are going to discuss in this particular chapter, that you all came across or you are studying in a first year. Again I am going to discuss here, not to worry, but these are the basic things or whatever the link of the previous chapter to this. That is what we are going to study, the sexual reproduction in a flowering plant in this particular chapter, and there we are going to study the pre-fertilization events of sexual reproductive means in a flowering plant, fertilization events in a flowering plant, and then we are going to study the post-fertilization events in a flowering plants. I hope these all the concepts are clear for you people. Now let's start with the chapter 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Sexual reproduction in flowering plant. Okay, I hope all of you have seen the different kinds of flower. All of you are seeing the different kinds of flower. And now, what else we are going to discuss in a sexual reproduction in flowering plants, in the sense you all are come across the flower, and the human beings are what we are going to call that one as actually human beings have had the relationship with the flowers. We have the relationship. What? Flower in the sense, first the point we are going to study is that is flower a fascinating organ of an angiosperm. It is a fascinating organ of an angiosperm. In the sense, in angiosperm, the most important organ, that is flower. In angiosperm, the most important what we are going to call it as an organ is a angiosperm, means flower. Now here you all are, or human beings have had the relationship with the flower. We had a relationship with the flower. We had relationship with the flower from what we are going to call that one as a time of immemorial. In the sense, from long back we had, means we have been had the what relationship with the flower. Relationship with the flower. Like there are the different objects of a flower. In the sense, object of the flower, in the sense, we used to use the flower as a aesthetic, ornamental. We used to use as a flower as an ornamental. Then social relations. Social, we have to maintain the social relation with the help of the flower, using that flower. Then the flower has a cultural value. Flower has a cultural value. These all are in general. And afterwards, we used to use the flowers as a symbols for conveying feelings. Conveying feelings ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಭಾವನೆಗಳನ್ನ ವ್ಯಕ್ತ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಫ್ಲವರ್ಸ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ಲವರ್ಸ್ ಎದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವೋ ಅಥವಾ ಫ್ಲವರ್ಸ್ ಏನೇನು ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ನಾನು ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ನಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಫ್ಯಾಸಿನೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಒಂದು ಬಹಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಆರ್ಗನ್ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಅವಯವದ angiosperm ಈ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ angiosperm ಏನು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವ ಅದ್ರಾಗಿಂದ. ಆನಂತರ ನಾವು ಎದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಏನನ್ನ ರಿಲೇಷನ್, ಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅಥವಾ ಅಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್. ಆನಂತರ ನಾವು ಈ ಫ್ಲವರ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾವನೆಗಳನ್ನ ವ್ಯಕ್ತ ಮಾಡೋಗೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದಾಗ ಫ್ಲವರ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಾವ ಭಾವನೆಗಳು ಅಂದಾಗ ಒಂದು ಇದು ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಸಿಂಬಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಸಂಕೇತವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀವಿ. Then we are going to use the flowers for affection, happiness, mourning, etc. These all are the what in general we all are come across the importance of flower. Apart from this, then we are going to go for mix as a view of biologist. Biologist is the flower is used of flower, it is the main important organ which is take part in a sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ plants naga ಏನು ಬೇಕು, flower ಬೇಕು. Understood? Now again I used to go for the last year in a first year we have studied regarding the morphology of flowering plant. Morphology ಅಂದಾಗ flowering plants ಹೆಂಗ ಅಂತ, flowering plants ನಾಗ ಏನೇನು ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಆನಂತರ flower, the parts of flower, all these things we are studied. So again I used to go for the important thing, that is the flower, that we are going to call it as a LS of flower. LS of flower ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ನಾವು ಫ್ಲವರ್ ನ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಅದೇನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ we have studied regarding what the different parts of a flower. The LS of flower in the sense like this, we are going to study here LS of flower. ನೀವು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ I hope last year we have studied the different kinds of flowers also based upon the position of body as compared to the sepals, petals and what we are going to call as the androecium. Now, here see, these things we have studied in a last, what we are going to call it as a chapter, in the sense last year. Okay. So what are the LS of flower? What else we are going to find? We are going to study ovary. This is the ovary. This is the style, and this is this one. We are going to call it as a. This thing you have studied, stigma, and this is petal. This is sepal, right? This is sepal. Then here we are at thalamus. This is the thalamus. Okay. So next, this I have drawn here for the bisexual flower, and here we are going to find these are the what we are going to call it as a anther. Okay, this is filament, and this completely we are going to call it as a what? Stamen. And stigma, style, ovary, these things we are going to call it as a pistil. These things we are going to call as a pistil. Understood? These are the things we are going to go for studying, or we have studied already in a first year. What is that? In the sense, flower. It consists of accessory organs. Accessory organs in the sense sepals and petals. Then reproductive organ in the sense androecium and gynoecium. I told you. In androecium, we are going to call the another name for androecium is stamen. Another name for the female reproductive organ, that is a pistil. And in pistil, what we are going to get? Ovary, style, and stigma. So these all are written on the board. And stamen in the sense anther and filament. So what is going to happen when we are going to study these things? Now I used to go for whatever I told you earlier. In sexual reproduction in flowering plant, we used to study the pre-fertilization events, the structure and means pre-fertilization, structure and events, then fertilization and post-fertilization. So before that, what else I told you in the sense sexual reproduction in flowering plant? The flowers plays an important role in a sexual reproduction in angiosperms. That's what here the flower, a fascinating organ of an angiosperm, I become. The objectives of the flower in the sense aesthetic, ornamental, social, religious and cultural value. The flowers are what? The aesthetic, ornamental, social, religious and cultural values. The flowers are used as a symbols for conveying feelings like love, affection, happiness, mourning, etc. Now these all are the common things for what the different kinds of or different values the flower got, or what we are going to use the flower. Apart from this, when we are going to see the flower as the view of biology or a life science, then the biologists, what the biologists are going to see in a flower in the sense flower it is a main reproductive organ, and the flower consists of different kinds of what means different parts like accessory parts of flower and reproductive part of flower. So these things we are studying in a morphology of flowering plant and morphology of flowering plant study model. In morphology of flowering plant, we are studying the flower, the bisexual flower consists of, that is very important, unisexual in the sense either androecium or gynoecium. So accessory organs of the flowers are what? Sepals and petals. And our reproductive organs are androecium and gynoecium. I hope this is very clear to you people regarding the unisexual flower, bisexual flower, parts of flower, accessory organs, reproductive organs and all. And again, this here I have drawn on the board the LS in the sense longitudinal section of a flower. In that I showed you the bisexual. You can consider it as a hibiscus, right? Here I written the sepals, then petals, and afterwards I written as the ovary, style, stigma. These are the parts of the state in the sense of gynoecium. Then here I written anther and the filament. Those are the names. Collectively we are going to call them as a stamen, and that is the main reproductive structure. So these all the things are very clear to you now. Okay. Now in today's class we are going to start discussing one by one in the sense pre-fertilization, structure and events. Pre-fertilization, structure and events in both male and female flowers. So shall I put this? Okay, or else I will write this side pre-fertilization. Okay. Events and structures. We are going to study now the pre-fertilization events and what? Pre-fertilization, what we are going to call this one as a structures or events and structure or structure and event. Structures and events. Okay, what are the different structures are there in a pre-fertilization and what are the events are going to take place in a flowering plant? These things we are going to study in detail here. Now what is going to happen when we are going to look at the angiosperm plants? Angiosperm ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರನ್ನ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಗ್ರೋ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ತೈತಿ ಆನಂತರ ಏನಾಗ್ತೈತಿ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಣ್ಣ ಫ್ಲವರ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಬಡ್ಸ್ ಬರಕ್ಕೆ ಇರ್ತಾವ ಅಥವಾ we are going to call it as a inflorescence. We are studying again in last year. Inflorescence, this is the homework for you people. What is inflorescence? You have to find out and tell me when we are come on the Google Meet. This is very important. Inflorescence, bud with the inflorescence, bud then it is going to flower. Okay, all these are with the help of hormonal changes are taking place in a flowering plant. When they are going to grow, that time the hormonal changes are going to several hormonal changes and the structural changes are initiate the what we are going to call it as a further development of a plant, and in a plant we are going to form the flowers. And what we are going to find different kinds of flowering plants in the sense there are the different kinds of flowers, unisexual flowers and bisexual flowers. Unisexual flowers in the sense the flower consists either androecium or gynoecium. Bisexual flowers in the sense it consists of both the male and female reproductive structure same. So after that I told you the androecium and gynoecium I mentioned here like what is this? Another name for this one is gynoecium, and this one whatever the stamen, this is androecium. Okay, so these are the things are going to develop. Okay, and now here we are going to study the pre-fertilization events in the sense formation of androecium in a male, formation of gynoecium in a female, and the structures of these in the sense the stamen anther and filament. In detail we are going to study here. And in gynoecium we are going to study the ovary, style and stem. These all are come under the refertilization events and structures, or structures. In your book they are given like this. What they are written structure. You can take that. Structures and events. Okay. So now we'll start with the male reproductive pre-fertilization structures and events. In the sense, first we are going to study the male reproductive what structures and events in flower. In male reproductive structures and events in flower, that is mainly we are going to study here mainly one is stamen, we are going to study this. Then we are going to study microsporangium. We are going to study stamen, microsporangium and pollen grains. This is the first point we are going to study. In a pre-fertilization structure and events. So these are all the things we have studied. Now I used to write the side heading for this stamen. Stamen in the sense it consists of long slender filament. This we are studied in a last year. Like this. This is filament. This is anther. Filament and anther. These are the parts of stamen. Now we have studied structure of a pre-fertilization event in a male reproductive flower. That is what? Stamen. Stamen consists of filament and anther. So I told you, what I told you, filament is a long, slender thread-like structure. Okay, and this filament varies from one species of the flower to the another one. In the sense of one to the other. Okay, what I told you, stamen shows two parts. One is anther, another one is filament. The filament is a long, slender structure generally. Okay, and anther is generally bio. Last year. Okay, these are all the things we have studied in a last year. So this is not very difficult to you people. Okay, anther is a bio. And then the number and length of the filament is varies from one flower to the another flower. And I told you the anther is bio. When we are going to take a structure or a section of an anther, that time we are going to form like this in a anther 4 chambers. Okay. We are going to find the 4 chambers. We are going to find like this the 4 chambers. When I am going to take a section of a what? And these 4 are pollen sacs, and with this we are going to get pollen grains. We are going to get the pollen grains. And whatever here I have drawn, these are the lines for the designation. Yes, that we are going to discuss afterwards. Lines for basics. lines for dehiscence in the sense after the maturation the anther has to what? Get a rupture and the pollen grains are coming out from that. So what else we are going to study in a main reproductive structure of a flower? In that we are going to study stamen, microsporangium and pollen grains. Now we are studying the stamen. Stamen consists of two parts. One is filament, another one is anther. Filament is a long thread-like structure, and the number and its length it is varies from one flower to another flower. Then afterwards, anther it is attached above the filament. Okay, and it is usually bilobed. When we are going to take a section of anther, mature anther, that time we are going to get there are 4 pollen sacs. In that there are the number of pollen grains, and I drawn here the lines of desiccation or dehiscence. Lines of dehiscence in the sense after maturation or after they getting dry away for anther, it is going to rupture and the pollen grains are going to release from the water anther for the next pollination and all. That we are going to study in post-fertilization. Okay, so is good. Now, a typical angiosperm anther is bilobed with each lobe having a theca. I told you it is a bilobe and each lobe has theca. Each lobe has theca. That is very important. Each lobe has theca. T-H-E-C-A, theca. So we are going to call that as a dithecous. This is called as a dithecous. D-I-T-H-E-C-O-U-S. In the sense, again I am going to explain you. See, stamen. This is the structure of stamen. Stamen consists of filament and anther. Filament is a long, slender thread-like structure. Length of the filament and the number of the filament is varies from one flower to another flower. We are studying in a first year. Go through that, and I am going to ask you few questions regarding the what monohelpus, dihelpus. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಬಹುದು ನಾನು. ಸೊ ಇದು ಫಿಲಾಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಆಂಥರ್ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಬಾಯಿಲೋಬ್ ಎರಡು ಲೋಬ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ and each lobe has a theca. That's what we are going to call it as a dithecous. Dithecous in the sense in angiosperms. In angiosperms, the anther is bilobe and each lobe has a 2 theca. Each lobe has a what we are going to call that one as a each lobe having the 2 theca. That is very important. Each lobe has a each lobe has 2 theca. ಇದು ಒಂದು ಲೋಬ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಇದೊಂದು ಲೋಬ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಈ ಲೋಬ್ನಾಗ 2 theca. So that is what we are going to call as a dithecous. We are going to call that as a dithecous. And longitudinal groove runs. Usually this is the longitudinal groove runs. And we are going to have the lines of basic dehiscence, and after the what we are going to call that one as a maturation, they are going to break up. They are going to break up and open up, and the pollen grains are going to release. And the transverse section of anther, whatever I drawn on the board, that consists of bilobe in nature, and that is the transverse section is has a 4 sides. Whatever I shown you, this is a 3-dimensional structure. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇದೆ, ಈ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಲೋಬ್ ಮುಂದಿನ ಲೋಬ್. And I think I hope I shown you the section of anther. Okay, in a practicals. Now, so these are the 4 lobes. Then the structure consists of the 4 microsporangium located in each corner. Microsporangium. It is consists of the microsporangia. Here in each corner we are going to get microsporangia. And the microsporangia further develop into the pollen sac. After this microsporangia, this is going to form a pollen sac. Then the extend longitudinally to the length of the anther and are picked with the pollen grains. Okay, listen. Once again I am going to explain you this. I told you stamen. Stamen has a filament and anther. Filament is a long, slender, thread-like structure, and the filament length and the number of filaments are very strong. One power to another power. The anther is bi-lobed and each lobe has a two theca. That's what we are going to call that as a dithecus. That is very important. When we are going to get the transverse section of this anther, that time we are going to get the 4 chambers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 chambers, and in each chamber or what we are going to call that as a lobe, we are going to get the microsporangia. At 4 corners, we are going to get a microsporangia, and these microsporangia are developed into the pollen sac, and they are developed longitudinally throughout the length of the anther. Anther length is pollen sac development, and in those we are going to get the pollen grains, and those pollen grains are released with the help of line of daisies. Understood? So this is about what? Stamen. This is about what? Stamen. Okay. So next things we are going to study in a next class. That is what we are going to study, the structure of what? Microsporangia. Now we are going to study in the next class, that is the structure of microsporangia. Okay, I will stop here. So remember these all the things, and once you go through with the first year chapter, that is the morphology of flowering plant, that can help you to understand the further concept. And the simple thing is, in this particular chapter we are studying the pre-fertilization events, fertilization events, and means we used to go for the post-fertilization event. These are all the things we are studying in the previous chapter also, that is what events in sexual reproduction. And here we are going to study particularly about the flowering plants. In that we are starting here the first point, that is the pre-fertilization, that is structure and events. In that again we are studying now the male reproductive flower. In that stamen, microsporangium, and pollen grains. So still so far we are studying in detail the structure of stamen, that is what consists of filament, anther and all, then the section of anther, etc. Okay, in the next class we are going to study about the microsporangium and pollen grains and all. Okay, so with this I am going to stop here. Thank you all. We will continue with the next class, microsporangium.